Glad you're here with us this morning just after 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Rachel Schoutsen here with you, and here's a look at our developing stories today. Widespread extreme cold warnings. Many Canadians feeling this today. Significant snowfall en route to the east. I know, not what you want to hear in the Maritimes. And also, the difference between weather and climate. A lot of people say, how can we be experiencing global warming when temperatures are this cold? Check out theweathernetwork.com. Our chief meteorologist, Chris Scott, along with some other meteorologists as well, put together a great article. And one point I want to make here, over the past 7 days, so if you take Valentine's Day through till this Friday, the city of Toronto is on track to see the coldest 7-day stretch possibly in about 100 years. Take a look at that. We experience weather. We don't experience climate day to day. So check that out. Good read for this Thursday morning. And look at the cold. Look how far south people are feeling that cold, all the way down to Florida. In Orlando, they're actually feeling a wind chill today, more like 7 degrees instead of 11. Atlanta, -3. We're talking about the cold. So many people are feeling this. Extreme cold warning, yeah, it's back in place throughout Ontario. And as we look at the wind chill hazards, certainly there for frostbite. Frostbite in around 10 to 30 minutes time. Let's get a closer look into some of those temperatures. This is this morning throughout Quebec, -17. That's the wind chill that comes into play. Moncton feeling like -15. We have some great video from the Gaspé. We're going to show you that throughout the hour. And then as we look at some of the warnings in place, snowfall warning, the extreme cold here, winter storm, and this is with an approaching low. You'll start to see the snow move in late day today, but really this is going to be an overnight story and in through Friday. This is where Quebec City, well, you could see on the higher end 15 centimeters of snow. Charlevoix region, you're in that winter storm there. And that's because you had the system snow that moved through, made the very icy conditions, but before that you were into the snow squalls through that morning drive. What a mess it was out on the 401. As we look at our temperatures this morning, a cold day. Today and tomorrow, coldest days of the week throughout Ontario. Wind chill right now in the city of Toronto, -30. North Bay feels like -36. So yes, no doubt this is in place. And also the blowing snow for snow squalls today.
She's like, sorry, it's beautiful here.
Yeah. And also we're talking about the potential for rain on the way later on this week. So
yes,
we'll break down all those stories coming up throughout the hour. But the extreme cold, it really is the coldest stretch many people have seen in over 100 years. And the cold dips all the way down to Orlando, where today the wind chill actually makes them feel like 7 degrees.
Yes, exactly. So you can't really escape Florida if you want those balmy 20-degree temperatures. This afternoon, -16 in Toronto. That's the high. Over towards Calgary, though, +9 degrees, still under the influence of the mild air. And the snow on the ground as of February 17th, 117 centimeters in Charlottetown. So that's at an official observation site.
Yeah, we're talking about tons of snow and more to come. This here isn't going to be a huge snowstorm, let's say, but it's enough to add a few more centimeters on the ground. So we'll be breaking down these stories throughout the hour. But you can really expect the snow to start, let's say, late day today and then through to Friday. This is sort of the overview here.
Exactly. And blowing snow advisories are in place up towards the Gaspé Peninsula, Quebec City, Montreal, seeing a messy commute through the day today, just with that low. And yeah, the snow across the Maritime provinces, Rachel, and for the Avalon, we could see some freezing rain continuing this morning.
And then we're really keeping an eye on this throughout the weekend. This is going to be snow throughout southern Ontario, even into cottage country as well. And then also a snow rain mix throughout the Maritime. So as we break it down a little bit closer, this is what Saturday looks like. System moves in. This is going to be a snow story for many throughout the Greater Toronto area. We'll break down some numbers coming up.
And all of the heavy snow packs.
Yeah.
So you'll see more videos like that. International videos have been epic this year. And today across the country, the big systems watch, of course, is the one in Atlantic Canada. There's freezing rain this morning through parts of Alberta, so do take care there. Coming up more on your national stories. Stay with us.
And he's just talking about how frigid it is, so stay with us throughout the hour. Also, significant snowfall en route to the east and the difference between weather and climate. And we have a really great story by our chief meteorologist, Chris Scott, and it really talks about how we experience weather. We don't experience climate on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. And so here it is right here. Historic cold and global warming can coexist. All right, let's try and get back to that. There we go. So just go to our website. It's on the first page, just under stories. You'll find it with this title, and you can read about how potentially this year parts of Ontario could be seeing record cold in the month of February. Then there's talk about global warming. So we kind of demystify all those things that are going on right now with global warming conversations.
Yeah, and you can see how deep. That cold has dipped all the way down to Orlando and Atlanta, where you're below the 0-degree mark. So a lot of people feeling that, and a lot of people, well, having the risk of this today. Frostbite. Where Mike is, it's about minus 36 with that wind chill. So frostbite in around 10 to 30 minutes outdoors. So you really have to keep everything covered while you're out today.
Exactly. And this morning, if you were going to be in the east, Montreal's minus 12. Already seeing some snow falling in Montreal, Ottawa, spreading towards Quebec City. So there it is in blue. That's a blowing snow advisory. Gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour continuing. And I'm hiding this purple here, but that's the extreme cold in places like Val d'Or, feeling like the minus 40s today.
And then if you're in the Charlevoix region, great place to vacation in the winter, but snowfall warnings will be in place around 15 centimeters today. This is a widespread look. Bulk of the snow falling late today and through the overnight. Montreal, you can see you're on the lower end, and then Quebec City, you're more into around that 15 centimeters. The cold, though, many people in Ontario feeling this, the extreme cold.
Yes.
Have a look at some of the snow.
You saw some snow in places like Toronto. St. Catharines reports of about 5 to 10 centimeters, but then some people just saw nothing at all. So it's just dependent on where you are. And this morning, if you're going to be in the line of fire, those northwest winds, Goderich, Kincardine, there is a blowing snow advisory there with the lake enhancement.
Yeah, I was just checking out the radar. The snow sinking as far south as Clinton and could possibly even get into London late day today. When we talk about that cold this morning, right up to the north, you'll certainly be feeling that. Warnings are in place, so keep warm, and we'll see you just after this break. Yeah, you'll have to watch out for the dry skin today, especially if you live from Manitoba through Ontario into Quebec, some of the coldest air in the country. That's where it's situated. This afternoon, the high in Winnipeg, minus 17, Toronto, minus 16, wind chills really coming in. Thanks for joining us this morning, February the 19th. A lot of you experiencing the extreme cold. Also, a few getting into the snow. And here's a look at our developing stories.
Our top stories, Canada, widespread extreme cold, significant snowfall en route to the east, and difference between weather and climate. An interesting article that you can check out on our website. We'll talk about in a moment. But Rachel, today we're following the snow moving into the maritime provinces. Some freezing rain in St. John's and the Avalon. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a warning later this morning.
And also looking at some snow throughout Alberta. Freezing rain warnings are in place. And when we talk about these extreme wind chills, Mike Arsenault, you're certainly going to be feeling them today. And of course, frostbite becomes a big concern. Yeah, almost prairie cold in Ontario.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Mike. That looks uncomfortable.
It does. Let's not tell him I'm wearing a t-shirt right now. All right, extreme cold extending across Ontario to Kingston. Also some northerly winds setting up some lake effect snow. Grand Bend could extend to London as the day goes on.
And we look at the wind chill. Things are not getting much better. Minus 26 with that wind chill in the city of Toronto. Minus 30 down and toward London. So that wind chill plus the possibility of snow squalls. It's going to be a pretty brutal day out there.
Exactly. It extends to the north as well. And as we look to the city of Montreal right now, though if you want to get out this weekend, there'll be some nice fresh snow on the ground. But traveling today, Rachel, Quebec City, all the way towards the Gaspé Peninsula, gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, in Charlevoix region, you're in the snowfall warning because you're on the higher end of the snow here, 15 plus centimeters. And Montreal looking at a little bit less, but still, as this comes through, tough out on the roads, especially with that blowing snow and low visibility. In the Maritimes today, you'll be dealing with that widespread snow late day today, and then the wind chill as well.
And speaking of wind chill,
been terrible. So if you think you're having a bad day, imagine that's your car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And people having a bad day in Orlando because it's just too cold for them. Plus 11. Yeah, it doesn't look so bad for us, but their general high is 20 for this time of year.
So this is a snapshot getting you into Friday. You can see that low clears out of the Maritimes, but the extreme cold moves on in. And basically from Manitoba all the way out into the Atlantic, we are dealing with some extremely cold temperatures for this time of year. Could be record breaking for some. Don't go anywhere. More on this story coming up. Well, I think it's going to be pretty easy to convince you to take a trip to the Bahamas after we look at this. Some of the coldest air in the country over Manitoba through Ontario. Ontario, you are looking at a frigid cold day. Wind chills minus 26 this afternoon. Talk about that cold. So let's look at something a little more pleasant. Look at the Bahamas here. Great conditions, 23 degrees in Nassau. Yeah, you'll see some cloud cover, but I'll take this over the Canadian chill.
Good morning, Canada. Glad you could wake up with us. Nicole and Rachel with you. Top stories today, we're following widespread extreme cold warnings, significant snowfall en route to the east, and difference between weather and climate.
Yeah, Chris Scott, our chief meteorologist, he put together a really great article, Historic Cold and Global Warming. How can they coexist? And a lot of people say, well, global warming's not happening. Look how cold we are. So you can read more about that online at theweathernetwork.com. Coldest stretch we've seen in over 100 years. That's happening right now.
Exactly. particularly in parts of the east. So you say global warming's happening, read the article for more. Today, cold enough that it's extending all the way down to Orlando. Their high will be 11 degrees. They have wind chill advisories this morning where it feels like -2. I take it, but for them, obviously, they're not used to it. We're dealing with these wind chill values, Rachel. Feeling like -40 will give you frostbite within 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have extreme cold warnings in place, which includes Toronto over towards Kingston, we've got Winnipeg included in that, bundling up today.
Yeah, Mike Arsenault is in cold water this morning where the wind chill's -36. We'll be checking in with him throughout the hour where it is extremely cold. As we look at Quebec, wind chill -15 this morning. Thanks, Dora, for sending in this. More snow is on the way as we focus in on the new low.
That's right. Already seeing snow in Montreal as well as Ottawa. Won't be as much as if you shift towards Quebec City all the way to the Gaspé Peninsula. So the St. Lawrence Seaway seeing the strongest winds and heaviest snow today.
Yeah, and as we look into Ontario, no snow in the forecast today besides some snow squalls down in towards Goderich, Kincardine through Clinton. But the extreme cold, it's another day of this. Today and tomorrow could be some of the coldest days of the season. And this extends right up into the north. I love looking at these maps because somewhere like Kapuskasing in Toronto have similar temperatures. And how often does that happen?
So if you capture it and can send them to our website, we'd love to see them. This morning, crystally and icy in Saskatoon at -9, but colder in Winnipeg at -29 for you. And there is snow moving into the southern prairies this morning with some blowing snow as well. Take care.
Well, we can expect to see here in the GTA maybe 10 centimeters of snow as that moves through the freezing line, just going to be south of us. So when we talk about some of the big snowfall totals, could be in our backyard.
Exactly. So Ski Hill's getting some nice fresh snow this Sunday morning. Top stories in Canada, widespread extreme cold warnings. Places like Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, significant snow en route to the east. And the difference between weather and climate, we'll show you where you can find a great story about global warming on our website.
Yeah, as we look at today, this is a snapshot. Messy weather headed in through Atlantic Canada. Lots of warnings as well in through Quebec. When we say frigid, really the coldest air is Manitoba out through Ontario. And then we do have some light freezing rain happening throughout Alberta.
Exactly.
So when we talk about that cold, it's frostbite.
Yeah, frostbite an issue if you're outside with -40 within 5 to 10 minutes on exposed skin. So go outside and then go back in if you're out there for too long.
With the extremely cold weather in the winter, but hey, that kind of scene pays off to live there.
Exactly. Have you ever seen the Aurora Borealis?
I haven't, no.
Me neither. A trip up north, maybe in the summer. We've got the extreme cold warning here, Val-d'Or, Timmins, over towards Winnipeg as well, and up towards the north. So feeling like the -40s in the morning. For the afternoon, Saskatchewan not doing too bad, but Rachel, Winnipeg, we've got our eye on that for some record-breaking cold even into the weekend.
Yeah, tomorrow's actually going to be colder in Winnipeg. The high looking at -26. So when we talk about the extreme cold, really is over central portions of the country. When we talk about some snow squalls, that's for the eastern shores of Huron today. Some blowing snow as far south down into Clinton, could reach actually into London today.
That's right. So the snowfall totals won't be that high, but it's just always when that single band comes off with those northwest winds, it will reduce visibility on the roads there.
Yeah, for sure. And then pair that with the wind chill, the extreme cold here. Barrie -32, Hamilton -27. This is into the afternoon, so it's even colder right now as you're sending the kids off to school. And Nicole, I can imagine at school indoor recess for basically everyone today.
I think that'd be a good idea for the kiddies. But we will see some sun in the north, although it is also cold there. Skiing, we've got about 5 to 10 centimeters on the way today. But if you're traveling today from Quebec City to the Gaspé Peninsula, just to the St. Lawrence Seaway, gusts up to 80 kilometers an hour, so blowing snow and coming down pretty heavy at times.
Yeah, and we look at the Charlevoix region as well for that snowfall warning. You could see around 15 centimeters of snow. I've driven the roads through there, and I can only imagine with the elevations, it would be a tough drive with that blowing snow. Don't go anywhere. More on the weather selfie. That's coming up.
It's closer than you think.
Well, I think it's going to be pretty easy to convince you to take a trip to the Bahamas after we look at this. Some of the coldest air in the country over Manitoba through Ontario. Ontario, you are looking at a frigid cold day. Wind chills -26 this afternoon. Talk about that cold. So let's look at something a little more pleasant. Look at the Bahamas here. Great conditions, 23 degrees in Nassau. Yeah, you'll see some cloud cover, but I'll take this over the Canadian chill.